As people get older, something unusual begins to happen at night. A sound that wasn't there before. A sound that slowly grows louder with every passing year. A sound that families joke about during the day, but quietly suffer through at night. Snoring. It sneaks up on people. Someone who slept silently for decades suddenly becomes the loudest person in the house. Some older adults laugh it off. Some feel embarrassed. And some don't even know they're doing it until someone tells them. But here's the real question. Why does snoring become so common and so loud as we age? Is it the throat, the tongue, the muscles, hormones, or something deeper happening inside the aging body? Today, we're taking a closer look at the hidden biology behind snoring in older adults. And the answers are far more surprising than most people realize. The silent change you don't notice until you do. Snoring doesn't begin suddenly. It builds up quietly across years of small changes. And the first major change happens inside the throat. When we're young, the muscles in our throat, tongue, and soft palate are firm and responsive. They stay open when we breathe. They adjust quickly when air moves through. They hold their shape. But as we get older, these same muscles begin to weaken, slowly, silently, year after year. You don't feel it. You don't notice it. But at night, gravity does. Weakened muscles collapse more easily. The airway narrows. And when air squeezes through a smaller space, something begins to vibrate. That vibration is the sound of snoring. This is why even people who never snored before often start around age 50, 60, or 70. It isn't random. It's biology. The airway simply isn't as strong as it used to be. The tongue, the unexpected culprit. Most people blame the throat for snoring. But one of the biggest causes is actually the tongue. As we age, the tongue goes through a change almost no one talks about. It becomes softer, heavier, and less toned. A younger tongue rests forward. An older tongue tends to fall backward, especially when someone sleeps on their back. And when the tongue falls backward, even just a little, it blocks the airway like a door that won't fully open. The result? More noise, more vibration, more snoring. This is also why many older adults snore louder when they're extremely tired, because the tongue loses even more tone during deep sleep. Weight changes, even small ones matter. Here's something surprising. Older adults don't need to gain a lot of weight to start snoring more. Just a few extra pounds, especially around the neck or upper chest, can make a major difference. Why? Because fat tissue around the airway adds pressure. It gently pushes inward. At age 30, your throat might resist that pressure easily. At age 60, the same pressure causes partial airway collapse. This is why two people with the same weight can have completely different snoring patterns depending on age. Age amplifies everything. A small change becomes a big impact. A tiny obstruction becomes a loud vibration. And for many older adults, this is the moment snoring evolves from occasional to nightly. The nose. Aging changes you can't see. It's not just the mouth. Snoring often starts higher in the nose. As people age, nasal tissues tend to swell more easily. Cartilage stiffens. The nasal passages narrow. And conditions like allergies or sinus inflammation become more frequent. When the nose becomes even slightly blocked, the body forces more air through the mouth. And mouth breathing dramatically increases snoring volume. Some older adults say, "I only snore when I'm congested." But here's the truth. Mild congestion is far more common with age, which means mouth breathing becomes a habit, and snoring becomes a nightly soundtrack. The hidden muscle you never think about. Deep inside the throat is a small muscle most people will never hear about. It controls the soft palate, the flexible tissue near the back of the mouth. With age, this muscle weakens too. And when the soft palate becomes more relaxed, it begins to flutter when air moves across it. that flutter creates. The classic textbook snoring sound. This is why many older adults snore with a loose or flappy sound. That's literally the soft palate vibrating. Hormonal changes, the quiet shift inside the body. As we get older, hormones that once kept our muscles firm, our sleep deep, and our breathing steady begin to decline. And these hormonal changes play a much bigger role in snoring than most people realize. 1. Growth hormone declines. Growth hormone helps maintain muscle tone, including the muscles in the throat. After age 40, this hormone drops dramatically. Reduced muscle tone equals weaker airway support equals more snoring. 2. Melatonin decreases. Melatonin doesn't just help with sleep. It also helps regulate the rhythm of breathing. When melatonin declines, sleep becomes lighter, breathing becomes less steady. The airway becomes more collapsible. This is why older adults often say, "I sleep, but it doesn't feel deep." Shallow sleep plus relaxed airway equals more vibration. 3. Testosterone shifts. Many people associate testosterone only with men, but both men and women have it, and its decline affects throat structure. Low testosterone leads to increased fat around the neck, softer airway tissue, reduced respiratory muscle strength. For men, this is one reason snoring becomes significantly worse starting around age 50. For women, this typically accelerates after menopause. Why men snore more than women until around age 60? For most of adulthood, men snore at much higher rates than women. But something interesting happens around age 55 to 65. The difference shrinks dramatically. Why? Before menopause. Women have higher throat muscle tone, better fat distribution, protective hormonal levels. These naturally reduce snoring. After menopause, estrogen and progesterone drop. Both hormones help keep airways stable and muscles firmer. When these hormones decline, airway collapses more easily, throat tissue softens, sleep becomes lighter. Suddenly, women who never snored before begin snoring just as loudly as men. It's not sudden. It's biological timing. This also explains why couples sometimes begin snoring around the same years of life, each for different hormonal reasons. Medical conditions that increase snoring with age. Aging naturally increases the likelihood of certain medical conditions that directly affect nighttime breathing. 1. Sleep apnea, the most serious condition behind snoring. In sleep apnea, the airway closes fully, breathing stops. Oxygen drops. The brain wakes the body up repeatedly. Most older adults with sleep apnea don't know they have it. They only know they snore a lot. But sleep apnea causes morning headaches, daytime fatigue, memory problems, irritability, high blood pressure, and dramatically increases the risk of heart disease and stroke. Snoring is often the first warning sign. 2. Acid reflux, GERD. Older adults are far more likely to have reflux, and reflux inflames the throat. When the throat is irritated, the airway becomes narrower and more sensitive, leading to snoring. Many older adults lie down soon after eating, which increases reflux and worsens snoring. 3. Nasal and sinus issues. Age increases the likelihood of deviated septum, chronic allergies, sinus inflammation, nasal polyps. These conditions block the nose and force mouth breathing, which is almost guaranteed to produce snoring. 4. High blood pressure. You might not expect this, but high blood pressure can affect snoring indirectly. It increases the workload on the heart, alters nighttime breathing rhythms, increases the chance of airway collapse. This is why many people with hypertension also snore heavily. 5. Diabetes. Diabetes affects nerve function, and nerves in the throat help regulate airway stability. When these nerves weaken, the airway becomes less coordinated, leading to more vibration. Sleep position, the simple factor with a big impact. The way someone sleeps can completely change how loudly they snore. Sleeping on the back, supine position. This position is the loudest, especially for older adults. Why? Because gravity pulls the tongue backward, the jaw downward, the soft palate inward. It is the perfect recipe for maximum snoring, sleeping on the side. This reduces airway collapse significantly. Many older adults who snore loudly only snore in one position, sleeping in a recliner or elevated position. This often reduces snoring because the torso is lifted, keeping the airway more open. Older adults naturally sleep more in recliners for comfort, which is one reason some swear their snoring disappears during naps. Dry rooms, cold air, and low humidity. The environment also plays a major role. As people age, their airways become drier and more sensitive. Dry rooms cause throat irritation, nasal congestion, mouth breathing, louder snoring. Cold air causes airway constriction, increased mucus, nighttime congestion. This is why snoring often becomes worse in the winter, especially in the U.S., where heating systems dry out the air. A humidifier alone can reduce snoring dramatically for some older adults. Medications, a hidden trigger. Many older adults take medications daily, and several common ones increase snoring: sedatives and sleeping pills. They relax muscles, including airway muscles. Pain medications. They reduce respiratory drive, making breathing more shallow. Antihistamines. They make tissues drier and thicker. Alcohol before bed acts like a temporary muscle relaxant and can double the intensity of snoring for older adults. Medications are one of the most overlooked causes. A single new prescription can change how someone snores overnight. When snoring becomes dangerous, not all snoring is harmless. For many older adults, snoring is the first warning sign that something in the body needs attention. The most serious condition is sleep apnea, a disorder where the airway closes completely during sleep. When this happens, breathing stops, sometimes for 10 seconds, sometimes for 30, sometimes longer. The brain senses the oxygen drop, forces the person awake, gives breathing restarts, the cycle repeats over and over. An older adult with sleep apnea might experience dozens, even hundreds, of interruptions in one night, without ever knowing. What they do notice is morning headaches, dry mouth, daytime exhaustion, trouble focusing, irritability, memory problems. But snoring is often the very first sign. If the snoring is extremely loud, erratic, or includes moments of silence, followed by choking or gasping, this is not just snoring. It's a medical emergency waiting to happen. Left untreated, sleep apnea increases the risk of stroke, heart attack, heart failure, arrhythmia, diabetes, cognitive decline. This is why understanding snoring in older adults is so important. It's not about the noise. It's about what the noise means. How snoring affects the brain. Snoring doesn't just affect breathing. It affects the brain, especially the aging brain. When someone snores loudly, their airway narrows. When the airway narrows, oxygen flow becomes unstable. And when oxygen flow becomes unstable, the brain receives less fuel during sleep. The brain needs a steady, rich supply of oxygen to repair itself each night. But if snoring disrupts that process, the consequences slowly build up. Older adults may notice slower thinking, decreased memory, reduced attention span, morning fog, increased stress or anxiety, mood swings. It doesn't happen instantly. It happens across years of disrupted sleep. For some, Snoring may even increase the risk of cognitive decline, especially when paired with untreated sleep apnea. This is why many older adults feel tired, even after a full night in bed. Their brain never enters deep, restorative sleep because the airway keeps interrupting it. Snoring might seem simple, but its impact goes far beyond noise. How to reduce snoring in older adults. Here is the part most people wait for. What can older adults do to reduce snoring? There's no single magic fix, but several small habits can make a huge difference. 1. Change sleep position. Sleeping on the back is the worst position for snoring, especially for older adults. Encourage side sleeping using body pillows, wedge pillows, adjustable beds. Even lifting the head slightly can reduce airway collapse. 2. Strengthen the throat. Yes, the throat has exercises. Simple daily movements can noticeably reduce snoring by strengthening muscles that keep the airway open. Examples: repeatedly saying E or O, pushing the tongue against the roof of the mouth, chewing motions without food, gently singing or humming. These exercises tone the airway the same way a workout tones the body. 3. Improve the sleep environment. Older adults breathe better when rooms are humid, not dry. Air is warm, but not hot. Airflow is consistent. Bedding supports good posture. A simple humidifier can reduce snoring for many people within a week. 4. Avoid alcohol before bed. Alcohol relaxes the throat muscles, sometimes too much. For older adults, this effect is stronger. Even one drink near bedtime can double the amount of snoring. 5. Treat nasal congestion. If the nose is blocked, the mouth will open, and snoring gets louder. Nasal sprays, saline rinses, or treating allergies can significantly reduce snoring. 6. Manage weight, even slightly. Older adults don't need a dramatic weight change to see improvements. Even a 2 to 3% reduction in weight around the neck can widen the airway enough to decrease snoring volume. 7. Treat medical conditions promptly. Reflux, high blood pressure, diabetes, sinus issues. All of these can worsen snoring. Managing these conditions often reduces nighttime breathing problems as well. 8. See a sleep specialist if needed. If snoring includes choking, gasping, or long pauses, a sleep test is necessary. Treatments like CPAP machines are extremely effective and have transformed the sleep quality of millions of older adults. There is no shame in treatment. Breathing is life, and protecting nighttime breathing protects long-term health. Understanding snoring means understanding aging. As we grow older, the body changes in ways we don't always expect. Some changes are visible, others are silent. Snoring is one of those silent changes, a sign of softer muscles, shifting hormones, new medical conditions, and aging airways. But here's the important part. Snoring doesn't mean someone is broken. It means their body is communicating. It's saying, I need more support. I need better sleep. I need attention. Understanding why older adults snore isn't just about fixing a nighttime noise. It's about improving breathing, energy, mood, brain health, and overall aging. When you understand the science behind snoring, you understand the deeper story the body is trying to tell, and that story matters. Because better sleep means better life.